Welcome, boys and girls, once more to the library. Join me for more terrifying tales, if you're brave enough. It couldn't be real. Not alive. No one moves that slowly. It must be someone's idea of a joke. Craig stared at the ceiling, the duvet held tightly under his chin. 3 a.m., the fourth night in a row. Bars of sodium yellow light stretched across the wall opposite the window blinds, projected from the street lamp beyond. The first night he'd seen it some way, up the street, not moving there on the pavement, or so it seemed. A figure done up in odd, non-distinct clothes just stood there mid-stride. He stared at it for a while. For too long, probably. He couldn't make out an expression. The longer he stared, the more uneasy he felt. The second night it was there again, closer this time, perhaps another 100 yards or so, still unmoving, mid-stride. Sleep took a long time to descend that night. The next day, Craig went out to take a look at where he thought he'd seen it. There was nothing there, though he wasn't sure what he had expected to find. Rattled further, the third night came too quickly. Craig took a mug of sweet tea to bed to calm his nerves before rolling over, cocooned in eiderdown and bleak, troubling thoughts. 3 a.m. arrived as it always does, empty and dark. Chancing a peek between the blinds, there it was again, closer now, perhaps no more than 100 yards away. Craig still couldn't make out a face. It was a little taller than it should be, if it were a regular man stood there unmoving, mid-stride. A day later he again lay awake. This night he daren't get up to glance out. He knew it was there, perhaps on his own pathway or inside the gate. Just the thought of it was oppressive, as though it loomed. He tried to push thoughts of it away, turning on his side, away from the window. He willed the sleep to come, opening his eyes just a crack for one regretful moment. There it was. Halfway through the bedroom door, a silhouette against the black, unmoving, mid-stride. Darkness engulfs the driveway until the intruder light blinds me from atop the garage. The beast on the ground runs at me, erect tail, eyes of yellow ochre. The neighborhood cat rubs against my leg. She knows I carry food pouches for her. Heart rate returns to normal. I feed her and drag myself upstairs to my flat, then to bed. Darkness continues. Morning shines through thin curtains. Garbage truck beeped some time ago, and whiskey glass is still half full from last night. Coffee and whiskey blend well for today. Intruder light blinks. 3 weeks installed, damned waste of money. A loud knocking disturbs my languid manner. I open the front door. Crazy woman from downstairs stands before me, twitching fingers, chattering teeth, bloodshot eyes, attempting a roll-up cigarette. He was here last night. Who? The spirit. Who used to live here? Why didn't you tell me this place was haunted before I moved in? She snaps. I roll my eyes. I wish I had. Your lights find him. Bothers him. She glances at the intruder light. Suicide, they reckon. Debt got the better of him, down to his last £10. Poor fucker. I recall a story of a man who threw himself from the roof terrace here, now bricked up, inaccessible. I question if I made it up. Crazy woman leans close. We are being stalked. She slides away back to her own flat. A day of chores passes. I fall asleep early. Darkness returns. I wake to heavy rain, and darkness remains. Intruder light flashes at the window. I run to check movement, silhouetted upon the driveway, a figure standing above, arms wide like Jesus. Can't see above. Intruder light shuts off, blinds me with darkness. I open the back door. Soaking wet cat bursts in, wide yellow ochre eyes, heart pounds through ribs, small note on collar. I unroll it. A £10 note. It reads in blood, "My home." Intruder light snaps on again. I run to the window. Dead body below, face down, twitching on the driveway, blood washed into road by rain. Intruder light shuts off. Darkness remains. She glided through the forest in a state of sadness, wiping a tear from her eye. She felt as if she knew where she was going, but had no clear picture in her mind as to the exact location. Pulling the shawl up around her shoulders, she shivered. What a godforsaken place this was. The trees seemed to bend down and reach for her as she went past, trying to snag her clothing. Her pace never slowed, though, as she followed her instinct and kept walking. The final glimmers of daylight bounced off the leaves and were soon gone as darkness fell. A fox barked and was answered by a second as night creatures stirred after their daytime sleep. Movement ahead made her hesitate, her keen eyes catching sight of someone kneeling on the ground. As she got nearer, she noticed it was a man, dressed in dark trousers and a matching top. He was whispering to himself, gently rocking backwards and forwards. "Forgive me, forgive me," he repeated over and over again. Curious, she walked around to have a good look from the front, and saw the knife with blood covering the 6-inch blade. "It was only a game. You weren't supposed to scream," the man wailed in anguish. Then she remembered. Oh. She felt herself being pulled sharply, taking her breath away. Complete, inky blackness surrounded her as she felt wet. For the first time, her clothing was uncomfortable, and she felt dirt on her face. She could still hear the man whimpering, but it sounded muffled, as if from the other side of a wall. There was something else she felt, a growing hunger that she had never known before. Her mouth salivated profusely. The man stopped his rocking and wiped his eyes. It shouldn't have been like this, but he just wanted a bit of fun with her. A muffled thump from the earth in front of him startled him, and he watched in fascination as a partially decomposed hand appeared. Without hesitation, it grabbed him by the hair, pulling his head into a deathly embrace. Well, that brings us to the end of tonight's episode. Now run away, children. Run away back to your beds and get some sleep, if you can. I'll see you next time in the library, if you dare.